What does the concept of grit mean to you?
Grit to me is to keep going no matter how hard of a challenge you are faced with, and to just keep pushing and keep becoming better.
Grit to me is a character trait that separates good from phenomenal. Grit allows you to have a super tunnel vision on the things that you love so you can persevere in such fields.
The concept of grit to me means really digging down deep to do the things that are really hard.
Are there situations in life that require more grit than others?
In my life specific, yes, my life requires a ton of grit. From waking up early before the sun rises to working out every day to reading and staying educated and living the life that I see myself living. Life is all about grit. So there are fields that requires more grit than others, but it's always required.
I think there are so many situations that require grit, and I feel like school is a big one. Like there might be a certain subject that you're not doing well in, and studying will help you like persevere and become better and get to the point where you want to be. And also in athletic areas, because sometimes in a sport you might start off and it might not be going well, but I feel that the more you practice and the more you push yourself, you'll get to where you want to be.
What are some ways in which you can demonstrate grit at school or in the workplace?
The way I demonstrate grit in my workspace and at school are taking initiative on challenging tasks, allowing setbacks to be learning points, and ultimately never giving up.
Since I'm in a YCP class, so youth cinema production in my school, I think that requires the most grit because sometimes when you're filming, maybe an actor isn't there when you need him, or something happens to the set design when you're doing it. So that's why you need a lot of grit, so that way you can push through with the film.
Working in sports, I have worked some major tournaments where you have back-to-back-to-back games, and grit means continuing to show up to those 5, 6, 7 games that you've had back-to-back-to-back as your best self.
I'm doing cross country, and sometimes after races, I'm not showing the time that I want to see. And I feel like at practice, that makes me want to do better. So sometimes I run faster. I put more energy into it to show the difference that I want to see in my times or in my energy and in how I'm running.
Can you share a specific challenge in your life that required you to demonstrate grit?
To be gritty, it helps me to remember that I love what I do, or there's a goal, that there's something that I want to achieve, there's a goal that I want to hit, or something that at work that I'm looking forward to, or a new position, a raise, or there's some benchmark that's constantly on the horizon, always on the horizon. We're always working to be better, always striving to be better, and it helps me to overcome those hard moments and those challenging moments, to remember those things and to remember that I've worked so hard to be where I am, and it's going to take a lot of hard work to get to where you want to be.
As a Learn Fresh alum, how does the concept of grit apply to Learn Fresh programs like NBA Math Hoops?
When I first started NBA Math Hoops, I didn't really know how to work it or like how to do certain things, but I feel that over time I got better at it, and I knew like, oh, this is what my next move should be, or like I started thinking 2 steps ahead so I wouldn't be put into a position that I didn't want to be put in.
The concept of grit applies to, NBA Math Hoops, but if you're losing in the game, you push through even though, you push through even though you're losing. When you're pushing through, that means you have a lot of grit in the game.
It applies to programs like NBA Math Hoops by Learn Fresh, because there's always going to be an obstacle in front of you. There's always going to be a challenge, but it's up to you to dig deep inside and find your grit and overcome it.